Right now, we have every chart, every ruling, and every headline lighting up with signals that could reset the entire game. We've got federal courts sending shockwaves through the market with surprise tariff decisions. Wall Street ramping up Bitcoin and Ethereum buying sprees, and a new wave of institutional and sovereign power plays that would have sounded impossible a year ago. ETF inflows are exploding. Major cities and entire countries are racing to stack Bitcoin, and Ethereum is getting scooped up in real time as it takes over the top spot in real world assets. Today, I'm breaking down the biggest market flips, who's stacking what, and the exact numbers driving this next bull run. So without further ado, let us get started. But before we do, I do have to ask that you please like the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't, because this matters. It tells the YouTube algorithm that, hey, people like Jessica's content, and so it promotes my content. And I put in a lot of work into each of these videos, as does my team. So it definitely encourages me to keep going. So if you could, I would appreciate it. But without any further ado, let's jump right into it. So we're opening today's video with a shock from the US Courts of International Trade. You may have heard this on the news. If you haven't, I'm here to fill you in. Because on May 28th, the court ruled that President Trump's Liberation Day tariffs overstepped. He overwent his powers according to the IEEPA, which regulates this. The ruling says the president can't set trade policy without Congress, and called all four of his four major tariff orders unconstitutional and voided them, canceled them. That's a direct quote from the federal court document. And the decision landed like a legal earthquake. It sent shockwaves across the market. But that said, the market also didn't wait very long to react. US equities futures went wild on the news. The US 30 leapt to 42,575, up by 1.13%. And the S&P 500 went up 1.46%. The NASDAQ Tech 100 rallied 1.72%. And the 2000 index added 1.51%. Across the board, every big risk asset was and has been in the green as the news made its way across trading desks. All of that said, just 24 hours later, the US Appeals Court stepped in and reenacted Trump's reciprocal tariffs, sending a signal. This story is far from settled. And frankly, it was like the president flexing, which in my book is okay because he is the president. So there you go. But anyway, markets and policy watchers are now dealing with total policy whiplash as the rules keep changing. They keep flipping back and forth, right? And to add to all of this turmoil, headlines in the news then started circulating there would be refunds for tariffs that had already been collected or spent. Some are pointing out that these funds, which have already moved through Congress, may need to be returned, which is a twist nobody saw coming. And it's all spelled out in a court-ordered chart showing just how much is at stake. The financial impact tariffs have had on the market is massive. It goes needless to say. In the past months alone, the US Treasury collected a record $16 billion from tariffs. That's an all-time high for tariffs revenue, which is real money that flows straight into the system and now sits at the center of this legal back and forth. And as all of this plays out and unfolds before us, the global money system keeps shifting. The US dollar just reached a 20-year high, now counting for 50% of all global payments, which is frankly incredible considering the dollar has been at risk and at jeopardy for a long time. So this is quite remarkable. We're watching history unfold in real time, guys. I say this all the time, but it's true. Legal rulings, market reactions, and policy changes all colliding in a week no one will forget. Next, let's take a look at what's going on in the sovereign and corporate race arena of things. Because we have institutional money and national ambitions all stacking up in the Bitcoin race. Jack Mallers from his firm 21 just closed a monstrous $685 million raise, all set aside to buy more Bitcoin for their clients and treasury. This is one of the largest fresh injections of US capital we've seen lined up for spot Bitcoin. And Mallers is not holding back. His mission, which is stack as much Bitcoin as possible and put it straight into cold storage. On the scoreboard, public companies are growing their Bitcoin piles as well at a rapid pace. The latest snapshot shows corporate treasuries now hold 807,000 Bitcoin, worth about $90 billion at today's price. Strategy is still out in the front, Michael Saylor's company. But more names are climbing the list. With each new addition, corporate FOMO, or fear of missing out, is heating up. And there's real weight behind every move. The sovereign playbook is catching on in Europe too. Nigel Farage, I hope I'm saying his last name right, who's the leader of the UK's Reform Party, has also started drafting a bill to create a strategic Bitcoin reserve for Britain. He's calling on Parliament to treat Bitcoin as a core asset in the national vault, right alongside traditional reserves, putting the UK in the mix with countries like El Salvador and those quietly stacking on the side, which frankly also makes me very happy for the UK because this is allowing them to catch up. And I mean this, in no disrespect, but they have been falling behind. I think we've seen that in their politics. I don't mean to go on a rampage here, but we've seen that in their politics, banning like basically freedom of speech and putting people in jail for speaking their opinions, something we value a lot in the US. They've been falling behind. I really hate to say it that way, but the fact that they have somebody from the inside petitioning to put Bitcoin into their own national reserve, for me, is a glimpse of hope in allowing Britain to keep its position as, one of the leaders in the country. So anyway, enough about that. Let's keep going because momentum is building on both sides of the Atlantic right now. And every headline pushes Bitcoin deeper into mainstream's bloodline, literally. Ethereum is also catching a surge of fresh attention from big players. The ETH spot ETF just saw a net inflow of $85 million. According to the latest sheet from Farside UK, this is new capital stepping in, and it's real spot demand, meaning funds are actually buying ETH off the market and not just paper trading it. You can see ETH flexing its muscles in the charts too. Across the board, Ethereum is outperforming the majors. The price feed from Jason Pizzino shows the ETHBTC pair up 3% with ETHUSD's pair at 2,774, gaining a 3.46%. These relative gains are making traders pay close attention to where the momentum is shifting right now. Institutions and funds are quietly lining up for the next allocation. The Crypto Quant snapshot shared by Quentin Francois highlights a spike in institutional inflows, actually, pushing to multi-month highs. This kind of accumulation shows that the next wave of capital is eyeing ETH, and some desks are treating it as the main play for what's coming next. And ETH's on-chain fundamentals are building just as fast as well. The latest RWA sector breakdown from the TED Pillows puts Ethereum way out in front, with ETH capturing 11.6 billion of the 20 billion real-world asset token market. The nearest competitor, ZK Sync, comes in at 2.2 billion. ETH is setting the pace and bringing in tokenized assets on-chain and keeping its lead as the primary infrastructure for both DeFi and the real-world asset space. And all of this plays into a new narrative for Ethereum: price, momentum, real spot inflows, fund positioning, and dominance in the most valuable on-chain sectors. The numbers don't lie, and ETH is right in the crosshairs for the next institutional move. This week has been wild, from Bitcoin Las Vegas, legal curveballs, record-breaking ETF inflows, and headline moves from the world's biggest corporate and sovereign players. The court shook the market, needless to say, with its tariff ruling, all to just be rebutted in 24 hours later, all while Wall Street has continued to buy Bitcoin and Jack Muller's raising a war chest to buy more. We've even had the UK moving towards a strategic Bitcoin reserve this week, which is fantastic for them. And to add to all of this, we've also had the New York mayor, which came on stage as I was hosting Crypto Nights live pitch round here at Bitcoin Las Vegas. And he had a tremendous announcement about introducing a Bitcoin bond. So I'm sure we'll hear more about that soon. But meanwhile, Ethereum has been stealing the spotlight with its demand, price momentum, and commanding lead in the real world assets space. The inflows, the charts, and the on-chain numbers all pointing in the same direction as very, very bullish for Ethereum. Putting it all together, you can see the shape the new market is taking. Heavyweights are moving, capital is flowing, and the global order is shifting step by step right in front of us. So that's a wrap for today's video, guys. I hope you have a sense of what's going on and how kind of crazy, incredible it all really is, all at the very same time. I will continue to report daily for you. We are going to be shifting back to my previous schedule because it seems that is best for everybody. So starting on Monday, things will change. So I'm just kind of giving you a heads up now. But in the meantime, if you appreciated this content and all this research, I would just ask you like the video if you haven't already. I hate to ask you, really I do, because I would just love to come to you and share this news with you every day, but it does matter and it does help the channel grow. So if you haven't liked the video already, I would just ask you like it, share the video with a friend or family member that needs to hear this. That probably means more to me than anything else. And of course, just hit the notification bell so you actually know when my content is dropping. But that said, guys, I love you very much. Be sure to follow me on my correct X account. Yeah, let me know in the comment section what you're thinking, where you think the market is moving to next, and which are your favorite altcoins, so I know, because we will be going through them ecosystem by ecosystem, as is the right time. So anyway, guys, I love you, and I'll catch you guys in my video tomorrow.